Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guests are Andrew and Michael, and they're selling their Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show to you both. How are you doing today?
Hey Craig, thanks for having us. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Craig. Looking forward to working with you guys for the sale.
And just so that the listeners can hear get a voice tag, this is Andrew, and I'm based in San Diego, California.
This is Mike. I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Excellent stuff. I'm sure the listeners are looking forward to hearing more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon FBA business in the home and kitchenware niches created in March 2016. The average monthly revenue for the business is $109,254, and it makes an average of $19,035 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49959 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have the Amazon Seller Central account with 36 SKUs, 2 domains including all content and files for the sites, brand assets, email lists, one with 2,009 subscribers and the other with 489 subscribers. We have many chat lists as well, one with 2,961 subscribers and the other with 105 subscribers. We have trademarks, SOPs, supplier contracts and relationships, employee contracts, social media accounts for Facebook and Instagram. And it's important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. Okay, so now let's hear from the sellers. Can you tell us a little about your backgrounds in building and running online businesses?
Sure. Why don't you go first, Mike?
Sure. So I entered this space actually. I almost feel like we should start with Andrew, but Andrew was already in this space and then I joined in shortly after. I still currently work a part-time corporate job, but I kind of just wanted, to poke around outside of the corporate world and see what was out there. When I met Andrew back in 2015, I think.
It was 4th of July. We went to a big 4th of July party at the house.
Had a mutual friend that was like, hey, you guys are like the same person. Like you guys would really enjoy talking to each other. And, we met at Andrew's place and got to talking. And I think it's just history. Andrew's always had a very entrepreneurial mindset. And he got me kind of thinking, along those lines as well. And I just kind of wanted to poke outside of the corporate world and see what was out there, and never really thought that it was going to grow into something as big as it has, but I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. And like Mike said, I have an engineering background, as does Mike. And I was working a big corporate job and, for a big Fortune 100 company. And I kind of found a bit soulless, being a cog in that giant machine and kind of not really having much impact on bottom line or top line or anywhere in between, really. And I started an online business. I had a few things, had some apps and had some other affiliate websites and stuff like that, but nothing really hit until I got into Amazon and this business of developing products, mass producing them, and then ranking them online seemed to really mesh really well for me. And then Mike said he came in with me and we built up the brand up to, north of $1 million revenue now.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's many, many people out there who can resonate with your stories. And so when you're building the businesses, how come you think Amazon worked out for you as opposed to the other business models?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think there's some nice combination of there's an algorithm. There is the rank algorithm. There's the very concise 6, 7, 8 photos that you can add to your listings. It's there's a creative constraint there, right? There's 200 characters on the title, whatever the number is, right? So you can really figure out how to optimize that 200 characters with 7 photos and stuff like that. So we think we're pretty good at that kind of optimization. There's that analytical part that was really missing in a lot of the other markets that I tried to go into. But then there's also this really nice kind of, left brain is the math part and right brain is the creative part, right? Is that how it goes? Something like that. one of those brings. The other side, there's also the opposite side where you get to build a brand, you get to engage with audiences, you get to build something beautiful, build something people actually engage with and have emotional connections to. So that combination of like analytical engineering optimization kind of stuff, and also the like beautiful branding emotional side just seem to mesh really well with us.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. So as Andrew mentioned, we were both full-time engineers at the time when we started this stuff. And I think that just the Amazon model is great for people that are working full-time that want to kind of tinker with selling something online, because it's very much time and location independent, and it has a relatively low barrier to entry. So we were able to basically build this business on our own time between evenings and weekends. I don't know that many other businesses that you could really do that, like working a full-time, 9-to-5 corporate job, but then also growing a business, in your free time. So I think the Amazon model is, perfect for us in that sense. And then obviously since then, Andrew has gone full-time on this business, and I've gone part-time since then. I'm still kind of juggling the two at the moment. But yeah, it really fit where we were at that point in time as far as, time spent between a 9-to-5 job and trying to get something new spun up on the side.
Absolutely, yeah. And congratulations for the success on doing that. It must have been very difficult to get up with a full-time job. But I'm curious, when Andrew, you started this business first and then Mike came in later. So how was it when you started out, and then what kind of change happened when Mike came into the business?
Yeah, so I actually made the first product that I sold, I made by hand. Again, with engineering background, I had access to this machine shop in San Diego. It's like, how like when you pay for a gym membership, you pay $80 a month to have access to all these like big workout machines. Same idea, but you're having access to a machine shop. And so I ended up making a bunch of stuff, selling it on Etsy. And then Etsy stuff kind of exploded a little bit during the Christmas season, and ended up hiring a couple of people to help me make it in San Diego, and a couple of people to package stuff, and still working a 9-to-5. So I would come home at like lunchtime. I had people in my garage, like pounding stuff together and taping boxes and stuff. I'd come home at lunchtime and, hey, let me go buy some more tape for you. Hey, this person needs an issue, whatever, kind of managing a little bit of I call it the Santa's workshop crew, since we were building up to the Christmas season. It's a lot of work, but I ended up mass producing that stuff in Asia. And of course, it's all my own custom designs and stuff like that. So that business grew pretty quickly to the kind of the mid 6 figures, I guess. And then I just constantly talk about Amazon all day. Anybody who'll listen, I'll just like yammer on and on about it. But Mike just was the only person who'd listen to me all day talk about it. And so Mike actually developed his own product. And actually, why don't you tell a story, Mike, about how you developed the product and brought it to me?
Yeah, as Andrew mentioned, I was very interested in this stuff, just knowing that there was a way to diversify your revenue stream, basically, or your income outside of a standard corporate job. And so I was like, hey, if I can make a dime on the side, that sounds great. And so I started kind of scouring the market, trying to figure out. So initially, Andrew was going to, just continue doing his thing, and I was going to do my own thing. I started kind of scouring the market, looking for any gaps in niches that I thought I could fill, and happened to stumble across a niche where I felt that. So at this point, we were young professionals, recently graduated from college. I found a niche that was very untapped in the sense that it had products for very low end, cheap functional products that were generally not very aesthetically pleasing, but it also had super high-end products that were just, a lot of people don't want to spend that kind of money on, but there wasn't really anything in the middle ground for what I considered like a young professional demographic. And so, through that research, I wanted to pursue that, and basically brought that idea to Andrew, and he was like, hey, this looks great. Let's go in on this together. And that's what we ended up doing, and building up that brand to what it is today. And I think that's basically how this all came about. Andrew, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it ended up being that, Mike, the partnership with you ended up, I was already mid 6-figure seller. And then your brand, the product you brought that we partnered together on, ended up growing up to the 7-figure brand. And it started really eclipsing my other stuff. And you just said like, hey, can I just buy half of the other brand and we'll just go 50-50 full partnership and do this, full partners? And I said yes. So that's where we are today.
Okay, yeah. So just to clear things up for the listeners, is it the sort of those two brands that are included in the sale that we have for the business today, or is it?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, Craig. So the main brand that's for sale today on the listing is that larger brand that I brought to the table that Andrew and I partnered on. However, all the stuff that Andrew originally started that we've since gone 50-50 on is also included as kind of like a bonus to the main listing. So I think, for example, our listing shows that there's 2 domains for sale or included as part of the assets. So it does include everything in that secondary brand. Just to kind of give a little background on where we are with the 2 brands right now is our main focus has been growing this larger brand that's up for sale. The other brand has somewhat been sunset to a certain degree. More or less, we had to decide where we were going to focus our time. And we saw that that second brand was really growing a lot faster and just, had a bit more potential. So we decided to really focus on that brand. And we more or less just ran the original brand in the background on cruise control. So everything for that other brand is included as part of the sale. But, what we're mainly focusing and featuring as this listing is that larger 7-figure brand.
Quite right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you've built up this fantastic brand together. It's doing really well. So naturally, I'm curious as to why you two are selling the business today.
Yeah, great question. So there's 2 big reasons. One is that we recently had kids. Well, I recently had a baby, so I still have an infant. I guess Mike had his first kid 4 years ago. I had another one 2 years ago. So we all have preschool kids. And we started another brand that's a little bit closer to home for us. And so we spend most of our time on that new brand. And so we don't want this bigger brand to wither on the vine because we're kind of more passionate about the new brand. We figured this is a good opportunity for someone else to take it over because I really do feel very passionate about our legacy brand, the one that we're selling. And I feel passionate about it, but I feel passionate about the new one even more. And I really don't want the other one to die. So I'm like, okay, if we can hand it off to someone else who can really take it and run with it and grow it and hopefully make it even bigger and better, that would make me really happy. There's that. And of course, the opposite, the other side too, is that just kind of diversifying our risk. Most of my net worth is tied up in the value of this brand. And I just want to take a little bit of money off the table and just do stuff like fund college accounts for the new little baby.
Yeah, I think Andrew hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I don't think either of us here or I realized how much our world would be flipped upside down as becoming new dads. And, we both just want to do it. Suddenly being able to give back to the world of infants and toddlers became, this passion and this, life goal that just literally came out of nowhere just from having our own kids. And so we're passionately pursuing that now. And as Andrew said, we really want, someone that can continue growing our original brand and, give it the time that it deserves more than anything.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a very similar life path. Everything that's going on.
You could say that.
Very much alike. So when you have someone take over this business, what would you like to see happen to it? What are the big opportunities for growth with it?
Well, I made a 17-point checklist for a new buyer because I think there's a lot of opportunity here. I think maybe we don't need to go through all 17 pieces, but just having someone who's able to spend more time, not necessarily the buyer, but an employee type person, because most of the things that we have are very systematic and automated. We have a lot of software built that is transferable to a new buyer. We also, of course, use third-party software solutions and have a lot of SOPs, standard operating procedures, for the whole business. But, there's a lot of opportunity for the new buyer. Mike, why don't you say something about it and I'll pull up my list to find good stuff.
Yeah, so I think that one of the biggest struggles that Andrew and I have had with our business is really on the social media and marketing side of things. We're good at working with spreadsheets, working with data and optimizing things like that. But there's a little different type of mindset that goes into being good at social media marketing. Absolutely. And so, we've contracted that work out. It's going okay. But in general, I feel like that's a largely untapped potential in our business. If there's anyone that can do a good job with those things, I feel like it would really take this business to the next level. It's just, something that quite frankly, we're admittedly not great at. It's an area that we need help in. So I think there's a big growth opportunity there.
Yeah, and we built lists. Like I'm good at making the funnels to get people in onto our list, but then like engaging them and writing emails and producing good content to engage them has been tricky for us. And so the business has 20,000 or so. And if you add up email lists and ManyChat and blah, blah, blah. So a 20,000 person audience. So definitely social media, listing optimization. We love building new products, but in terms of optimizing our listings, I don't think we're fantastic at it. For example, we only have A+ content, or also known as EBC, enhanced brand content. We only have that on like a third of our listings. So like a refresh of that kind of stuff and then systems to tweak the listings would be fantastic for people. Also expanding onto other platforms. You know what? I need to focus on one thing. I need to get really good at Amazon, really good at making products, but we don't sell on Walmart. We don't sell on Etsy. We don't sell abroad. We don't sell in Mexico. We have we call that thing the Pan American or I forget what they call it. We don't have a proper presence in Mexico and Canada. We have the whatever that thing is where people can do FBA to Canada. We don't have a proper presence there, and we don't have any presence at all in Europe or Japan or any of those other markets. So those are like huge opportunities, I think, for the new buyer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've sort of touched upon this, but what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with this niche or business model?
You and I, Andrew, we spend most of our time on the business doing planning work. I mean, we have great employees that execute a lot of the day-to-day tasks. So I think anyone that's really good at kind of having a vision on how they want to execute the business and then being able to basically decompose that into tasks that they can delegate to their team, I think that would be a huge, win for them if they stepped into this business, because that's basically all it takes to run this business at this point.
Absolutely. And with the employees, what sort of work do they do on the business for maintenance?
We have a social media person. We have a graphics person who bills like hourly or per unit. Piecework, I think, is kind of a fancy word for it. Piecework. He bills piecework. Social media salary. We have an accountant. I don't know if he wants to have our accountant. He's fantastic, but I'm sure he'd be happy to go along with the sale. He's not a proper employee. Of course, he's like a contractor. And then we have a full-time virtual assistant who's based in the Philippines. She's absolutely fantastic and runs most of the day, almost all the day-to-day stuff. And then who else is there?
PPC.
Yeah, we have a PPC guy who's great.
Okay, excellent stuff. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've got some solid foundations for the business for someone to take it to the next level. But on the flip side, what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I think it's any risk that any Amazon business has. You're basically playing in their playground. So while you are given full autonomy over your own business operations, you do still have to make sure that you're aligned with Amazon's terms of service, and you're basically playing ball in their court. So other than that, I mean, I think we run a very solid business that has very little risk aside from, just the fact that we are largely on another business's platform. So, but that really is a risk that goes for any Amazon business.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. I think there's nothing extra risky for us compared to other Amazon businesses, but exactly what you said, being on the Amazon platform is just, it's risk that all the Amazon businesses have. We still have the Trump tariff on all of our imports, although we applied for an exclusion and we got all of our historical tariffs refunded. That refund, though, because it doesn't apply to the future imports, that refund didn't get included in our P&L because it's not considered like an ongoing thing, even though we have, we got them and we're likely to get them in the future, those Trump tariff exclusion refunds, whatever. But that's already there. It's not really a risk. It's already present. It's already included in the P&L. All our intellectual property is really solid, and we have a lot of reviews. I think we're just short of 10,000 reviews across the entire business, and everything we do is extremely white hat. So I don't think there's any risk there with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, great stuff. And this sort of maybe answers part of my next question, which is to summarize all the great stuff we've talked about today. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
We're 5-6 years old. We have consistent revenue, consistent sales, years now of between $1 million and $2 million in sales. We're the product line. Everything we do they're simple products, yet they're customized. So they all are differentiated. They look different and they feel different than everything else on the market. They have a lot of reviews. Our top product has, I think, 4,400 reviews, something like that. Cumulative, we're just a tick under 10,000 reviews. The business is very systematized, very optimized. It's like 2 engineers ran it, And then there's a lot of room if someone can do proper marketing better than us, engaging lists, engaging audiences, doing outside Amazon platforms like getting in the retail space. We have retail ready packaging. Everything's full color, beautiful, gorgeous stuff built ready for place on a shelf. We just have never done it. We just ship in the Amazon boxes. So overall, I think it's a great business. And so that's why we're hoping that someone can take it and really grow it.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely has solid foundations, engineering foundations, you could even say. So like you say, regarding the sale of this business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Non-compete in that space for sure. I mean, obviously, Mike and I already have another Amazon business, so I wouldn't non-compete on all of Amazon, But for sure, yeah, we're moving out of that space. We can avoid that entire niche, and I'm happy to, that niche and any kind of peripheral niche too. I'm happy to sign a non-compete.
Yep, agreed. I am as well.
Okay. And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Like I said at the beginning, I love talking about Amazon all day. So I don't want to overgive it myself. but I'm always happy to talk to people, always happy to help engage, help work through things. So whatever the standard is, obviously the standard is fine. And then beyond that, any kind of call or email support. For sure.
I just want to chime in and say, so this was one of the things that we had to answer for Empire Flippers in their questionnaire. And just to stay consistent with what we offered there, Andrew and I agreed would be okay with 5 hours a week for the first 30 days and then 1 hour a week for the next 30 days. And then if any support is needed beyond that 60 days, we'd likely just negotiate that with the buyer at the time based on some hourly rate. So very open and willing to support as needed, though. We do want to see this business continue to grow. We don't want to just basically hand it off to someone else and say good luck. We want to ensure that it's successful moving forward.
Excellent. Yeah, that's twice the amount of support that sellers usually off buyers. So I'm sure potential buyers will really appreciate the extra support to get the smooth transition of the sale. So excellent stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
I'm just really excited. Probably everyone says this, but I really believe in my brand. I really like the company. I really enjoy building it. And I really do want to see someone take it and do something great with it. So I'm just excited to see this next phase of the business.
Absolutely. I echo exactly what Andrew said.
Yeah, absolutely. The passion has definitely shined through and it's resulted in a lot of success for this business. So brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for your time. It's been great talking to you both.
Likewise. Thank you, Craig.
Great. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49959. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.